Okay, so I've been real curious to see what this one-piece products, one-piece window setup looks like and how they've got it engineered to go into the door. Supposedly it's supposed to be a plug and play. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's self-explanatory, and there are no instructions with this kit. I guess it's the problem with getting one of these early on. Um, I also wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt before I just threw the baby out with the bathwater. But already all of this mass here that's attached to the glass, which is probably a good thing considering this particular design that they made up. So you can see this is where you would normally attach to your regulator on your standard glass. And they have these pretty robust arms that they slide along. There's like these nylocks that you could adjust the angle for. But bottom line is that there's a lot of friction here for our purposes. I imagine with a crank window where you really put your arm into it, this is good, but this is not moving freely enough for me. The motor in the Challenger, it's going to already have to fight with the extra weight of this glass. It's a little bit heavier than the glass that come out of the Challenger, and I don't want to have all this extra added steel on here. So the other thing is, this is supposed to be plug and play, and I don't see any corresponding mount points in the door for any of this stuff. So I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'm just going to take all of this off and use the Challenger stuff, which is basically very simple. It just clamps to the glass in a couple of locations, and that's what holds the glass. And there's a small channel at the front, and there's basically nothing at the rear whatsoever. So I'm not going to waste any time with this. I was looking forward to seeing if this would just bolt up very quickly, and then I could use all of this stuff for this setup. And but right off the go, like I said, I'm going to have to. This is way too much weight for that the motor in the Challenger setup, and I can't just change it out with a heavier duty window motor because of the fact that it has all the sensors that tell you the location of the window, and it has the smart window technology and all that stuff. So it's unfortunate, but I was hoping, or the manufacturer was hoping, that I could provide some sort of maybe a tutorial on how this all goes, since this is a brand new product. See what works, what doesn't work. But I haven't got time to play with it, so I'm going to just go about my business and do what I have to do. All right, I'm not necessarily going to mess with this glass right now. I just wanted to see what the kit was all about, see if it was something simple, because I don't like reinventing the wheel if I don't have to. I've already put the Challenger stuff in my car, and it worked pretty good for me. All I really needed out of this kit was this glass, but went ahead and covered it on both sides with this 3M spark arrestor paper, and so it's protected, and I'm just going to put it away for now. And once I get involved with engineering the window tracking and everything, we'll be back to it. All right, so I went ahead and I rehung this inner door shell here to start engineering the door catch area of this door shell. And so on my car and on the Don's Charger, the one I just finished building, I just cut out a plate here and put a plate that matches the bolt-up points for the new latch, and installed it in here. Unfortunately, what that ends up doing is it causes this rubber gasket here that seals up the door to have a break right here, because the new catch, unlike this catch here, the bulk of it is on the outside of the door, as far as the part that catches the striker. So what I'm going to do with this car is, in order to not make a break in this area here where this gasket runs across. I'm going to build this area out so that the latch is actually beyond this rubber molding. So that's going to be a change that I'm going to make from the last two of these that I've done. Hopefully that'll work a little bit better. One of the other things that happens when you do that on my car, because I used one-piece glass, I didn't use this track that goes in the back over here to guide the glass down. So when I built Don's car, I had to use that track because it had the 68, the normal glass, and so it needed all the guides and tracks for that. Well, it was very difficult to squeeze the latch mechanism in between that track back here and this plate over here. So I'm going to avoid all that mess by moving everything out a little bit, and hopefully that'll simplify things, even though there's a good chance I might not be using that rear track for this glass, but it'll give me the option to use it if I move that latch out a little bit, and it'll also make the door seal continuous. All right, so rather than just build a whole new latch plate, since I'm adding it to the outside of the door, the existing door on the old Charger, I went ahead and I salvaged this piece right out of the inside of the door. It's the reinforcement for the latch, so it's a pretty heavy piece. It'll be suitable for actually making the new edge piece on the old Charger, because these are already countersunk and they're already fit up to the latch. This is already cut in and clearance. This already has it's already bent over with a nice round over here. And so we just drilled out some spot welds here on the edge of the door and on the side of the door and retrieved this piece. And now I've got to modify this piece to fit the other car. So before I did anything, I established the center of the striker based on where the old striker was, and that just basically tells me that's where Dodge wants to grab this door to get it to pull in evenly. So match the strike point right here, and that gives me some place to even up my new plate on when I position it over here. So I went ahead and I closed the door so I can see right through it, and lined up the striker marks like that, and then drilled through with an 1/8 inch drill bit over to here, so I could transfer my mark over to here and I get my strike line. Doesn't have to be that perfect, but why not be careful if you can? Okay, so I'm starting to modify this piece. Cut off the excess here on this side first. Then this was all contoured up because of the shape of the Challenger doors, so went ahead and slit these shapes, and then I went over to the an anvil and just flattened this all out so that this is going to be a nice flat plate here. I'll weld these up, and now I'm in the process of fitting it along this outside edge here, and we'll go on from here. All right, so here it is mocked into its position, but it's not really going to work the way I had hoped. In other words, I'm going to have to make a custom plate here because I have to move this whole lock mechanism just a bit farther forward. It's designed to be gapped this much on the Challenger, so you've got almost 3/8 of an inch right here. There's a little piece of rubber seal, a little foam seal that goes in here that makes up the difference in the gap. But I need this to move a little bit further forward because I just put this track back in. If you watched my other build, the last build on Don's car, I had to refabricate all of this stuff here and make it a side mount in order to get it to get out of the way of all of this stuff here once this thing was moved back in this direction here. My problem is not this so much this clearance, although right here you can see that I really don't have any adjustment to this track because this one little piece that goes up to the little door lock buttons is at an angle here, so it's hitting the back of this track. So what I have to do is I have to move it in board this way here, that 3/8 of an inch, in order for it to better clear this track and give me my adjustment. If I may not use this track, but I want the option because it helps maintain the angle of the window and the opening. We'll see how that goes. But at any rate, without modifying it at all, it fits in there just fine right now. But like I said, this lock mechanism needs to move a little bit further inboard so that we clear this little piece here. Doesn't hit the back of this track. And we have a little bit more adjustment on this as far as front to rear, so we could swing it if we need to. If we need to fix the angle in this direction, we have adjustment in that direction. Right now, we're right up against this one little tab here. Anyway, it's pretty long-winded, but like I said, I'm going to have to make a custom panel that relocates these holes a little further inboard and tucks this a little farther ahead. All right, so I went and made a new piece out of some Mo 70 sheet metal. So I like it a lot better than what I was doing. This tapers down, follows this inside where the rubber will go. So this will be all welded up and then smoothed down. This rolls under and blends into the bottom of the door there, right here. And then this rolls over at the top just enough to cap the catch mechanism. Anyway, on this side, we've got a little bit of movement here now, which is what I was looking for. I'm going to have to do a little fancy bending on this rod to get it to face this way before it goes up. But this is your pushes up and down on your lock. It's still behind this track. I may or may not use this actual track. I might turn around and use make a custom piece for this, because the only thing that's going to be in here is just the glass now, as opposed to the glass and the chrome strip that normally rides up. There's a chrome strip that rides up that's a guide rail here. So I'll have hopefully one of these front and rear to carry the glass, using some of the rubber inlay that is in the Challenger. The Challenger currently only has one in the front to guide the front edge of the glass down. And again, I might not even need this in here when all's said and done, the way everything's working. But I just like to make an allowance for it to be in there if I need to use it. So anyway, I'll move on to the latch side and make sure everything's good before I weld this up, because I might need to move it in or out, and depending on what happens to the actual catch on the door jamb. All right, so that part is welded up and cleaned up. As you can see, I just worked it around till it blended back into this stock line on the bottom side here and widens out here. Now this is going to allow me to put the rubber in the edge of the door for the seal, and it's going to be continuous, and the latches to the outside of that, which, you know, in actuality, that's pretty much what the 68 through 70 Chargers have, a protruding latch mechanism here. But this one has to stick out just a little bit further, and as a result of that, I'm going to have to, you can see I've already clearanced my door jamb over here, where my striker's going to go. And I have to rebuild all that to put a striker plate on that side. Also, put these temporary rubber blocks on here that replicate the blocks that actually fit in those areas, so that when I close the door, it doesn't twist. It just closes square against that door jamb over there. Anyway, I thought I'd let you see that before I go any further. All right, I've went ahead and bolted in my latch mechanism, and I've added some spacers to these little rubber stobs, these temporary rubber stobs, to hold the door out where I want it to, as far as the spacing is concerned, against the door jamb over here, where I'm going to put the strike plate. The strike plate's going to be roughly in this area here. I've left the back portion open right now. This is 70 thousandths steel, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to grab this with some needle nose pliers. Once I get it attached to the door here, I'll just push the latch in to where it belongs, and close the door, and then I'll put some grab it from the other side, and it'll give me a location for my drill holes. Now I'm going to put a plate on the back side. I've got to still salvage it out of the Challenger that this goes to, and it'll be a floating plate. It'll give me a little bit of adjustment up, down, back and forth, but this will give me a dead center of where this is supposed to be for right now. All right, you can see from inside the car here how with the side of that door jamb still missing, I can grab that striker plate with those two needle nose vice grips there, and that'll locate that strike plate where I want it. All right, so that's what the striker plate looks like in place, just clamped up. And just close this inner shell here. And so you can see that's nice and tight based off the fact that the spacers are in place and the latch is where it belongs. So that's that. So onto the permanent bolt up. Okay, so I scavenged this bolt plate out of the Challenger, and now I'm going to get it in behind here. I'll bolt up the catch in the location, make sure it's adjusted perfectly where I want it, and then I'll proceed to tack it into place, and then I'll remove the striker, and then I'll plug weld it from the face side here, and that way the bolt up is exactly where I want this striker plate to be. Okay, a note here. Normally, I would be making that back plate adjustable so it would slide back and forth and up and down. But I feel free to put it in its permanent location right now, because while I'm getting everything flush as I can here, normally I would leave that loose in case I needed to move the door in or out just a little bit for the finished skin. But what we're going to have here is I need the door latched in a permanent location when I go to wide body this thing. In other words, when I cut off these quarter panels and I cut this door skin and move everything out a little bit to go around the tires in the back, I'll be back engineering to the inner door latched to its position to the door post, so that I'll be building the sheet metal to this latched location. So that's the reason I want to put that latch in a permanent location so that it doesn't move throughout the build. All right, so that's what the door jamb looks like now that it's been closed up and welded up. Everything's been ground down. So basically, time to get the other side of the car caught up to this point. So rinse and repeat for the next couple of days. Anyway, so we'll see how far I get on that. All right, the passenger side door has been cleaned up, wire brushed, hit with OSPO, wiped down, lacquer thinner, and now it's primed with self-etching primer. And I'm just waiting for it to dry up good before I remount it to the car. So I'm going to turn my attention to starting to see what I can do about engineering the window mechanisms. Right off the bat, I installed this inside window whisker that they supply with a one-piece kit, which is nice because I had to segment mine because I didn't have this available to me. So I attached that to the inside temporarily, which is some screws. The other thing that I've done is when I was engineering my car, initially I was going to put Lexan side windows in them, but even the ones that are coated, which were pretty expensive, ended up costing about $600 for 2 blanks. But the situation was they were going to scratch very easily. So that's when I went with the glass, the laminated glass. At any rate, I have this Lexan window that's right about the right size. I've got to trim it up, match it up a little bit better to the new glass, and add a little piece to the bottom side here so that I can handle this Lexan window instead of having to handle the actual side glass as much as possible. So this will give me something that I can work with while I'm mocking the window up. And the other thing that's going to be kind of convenient for me on this deal is the fact that since we're going to be wide bodying this car, the wide body has to start at the door. So I'll be splitting this door skin right at the front of the door so that the door skin itself can pivot out. It's probably going to be about an inch, inch and a quarter here at the back of the door. So this gives me an opportunity to cut this now and take this top section and mock it up on the car so that I can get my exact spacing for how the window's going to run up and down with the window whiskers attached. So that's what I'm getting ready to do now, is to cut this skin on the top side. Alright, well, I got a quick mock-up going here. It's time to stop fooling with this and get over to the other side and get that side caught up to this side as far as the latch mechanism and the door jamb and all that stuff. So there's a couple of days in that. So I got to get back over there. I've got a crisscross 3/8 rods going here, and they're welded in the center to keep the inner door shell from twisting. And you can see I've got the upper door on there now with the window whisker in place. That's actually holding this Lexan up. One of the issues that I have when I did my car that I don't know how you would address it if you're putting a single piece of glass into a stock charger. But what we have here is the seals around the top are fitting nice and flush here, as they should. But in the front here, the vent window normally, the curvature of the glass, the arc over the face of the glass, is taken up at the back of the vent window, the track over here. But as you get to the front of the vent window, first of all, it's much more bulky. It's probably about an inch thick. The other thing that's the case is that the curvature is a little bit different in the front. It kind of flattens out a little bit, and so does the A-post. So what we end up having here is it's touching at the bottom, it's touching at the top, but there's a gap here. So on my car, I had to do some major re-engineering of this channel here to get this channel to move out. So it had a curve to match the glass. That's something that's probably been overlooked, I'm going to say. But this seal here is designed in the front side to accommodate that extra thickness of the vent window fixture. So anyway, I'm not putting it in the stock situation here, so I'm not going to be unraveling those problems. I'm going to be customizing that front and the A-post and the roof edge and all that good stuff. The other thing I'm going to do is, in order to accommodate the Challenger, I've got to get two more of these. These are the pieces of track that go up into the Challenger over right in here. They hold that rubber molding, and then of course the rest of it fits around the B-post. This, which looks almost identical to this, is actually just a rubber molding that fits around the entire piece of glass before you install this like you would a windshield. I was going to use this to finish out my quarter glass, but I need another 4 inches of length over here, so that's not going to be possible. So what I have to do is I have to get a hold of another 2 of these pieces of tracking to finish out from the B-post down to the end of the quarter glass on this car over here to replace this stainless steel channel right here that holds this molding. I can't really use this stainless steel track because it's wider and it doesn't hold that other molding in quite as well. So I'll have to take and do that adaptation also. At any rate, a lot of custom work in that area. I'm hoping that the curvature that's already in here in the front, that is in the A-post area of this track, it's straighter along the roof, as you can see. But of course I'll be cutting this and segmenting it, but this has a curve to the side here, and I'm hoping that that'll accommodate the curvature of the glass with the seal. We'll see how it happens, but for now I'm going to get back to the latches. Alright, so we've got the right side, or the passenger door, caught up to the other side. We've got the latch mounted and the catch on the door pillar, and it all operates pretty good. So there's the piece that opens the door. Anyway, that's it for that particular part of the project. A lot more to go here on the interior of this door. Got to start figuring out what I'm going to do in the way of window tracking, kind of looking at different things. I want to use this. I scavenged out of the Challenger door. This is the forward track, and it has this nice rubber bead in it that kind of captures the glass, but softly, doesn't put it under a lot of tension. And I'm going to try and use that. I'm not sure if I'm going to use these yet or not, but anyway, that's what's up next. That's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.